So you're a powerlifter or want to know more about the rules and regulations around powerlifting? Well, perfect. Because in today's video, we're going to go through how to walk away with as many white lights as possible in competition, avoiding red lights and avoiding disappointment on the platform in competition. It's good to know the rules and regulations around powerlifting, just so you can avoid that disappointing feeling you get after comp and you've not quite done your best and you think the referees hate your guts. I'm just going to start off by saying the referees are not out to get you. This is a volunteering sport, so judges and referees aren't this big scary monster who's trying to catch you out every lift. They want you to do well, and they want to also uphold a standard in powerlifting. So that is exactly why we're going to go through equipment, white lights, red lights, failure cards, and how to do each lift to the exact command and the exact standard that they're looking for. Also, remember, you get 10% off with the secret code I'm going to give you at any point through this video, so keep your ears open. This is only available for you, the viewer. So we're starting off with equipment. When you're going to a powerlifting meet, you'll have to do a kit check. So making sure you've got everything from your belt to sensible footwear to wear on the platform. Belts are first on my list. Now, if you're working on a budget, you can go for a lever belt or a prong belt. As long as that is comfortable for you, you've worn it in training and you're bracing efficiently enough in it, and it's IPF approved, then you're on to a winner. If you're on a budget, for example, strength shop can be a good place to start, as these can range between 40 and 70 pounds for a belt. If budget isn't a problem and you want something a bit more durable, longer lasting and rigid, you can go for the SBD lever belt, as this can be around 200 pounds. It will last you a long time and is the gold standard of powerlifting belts. We have knee sleeves, and make sure to get knee sleeves and not knee wraps. Knee wraps are for equipped lifting only. Knee sleeves have got to be a single ply neoprene with a thickness of 7mm and length of 30 centimeters. This is the IPF approved standard on the list, and they can also not come in contact with lifters, singlet or socks. See, tons of rules that we weren't even aware of in the first place. You now know. You've gained something from watching today already, so keep watching. Also worth noting, if you need any mechanical assistance or lubrication while getting your knee sleeves on, you may be asked to not wear them at competition or get disqualified, as this can be seen as cheating. Singlets. Yes, the leotards. We have to wear a singlet in competition. You may not be allowed to lift without a singlet. Listen, if you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna look silly in singlets, oh, I just don't want to wear one, my confidence isn't there. Tough. Wear one, get over it. Everyone's in a singlet. Let's move on. Footwear. Sensible footwear, guys. No fluffy Crocs, no slides. Sensible footwear can look like Converse, high or low tops, Vans, high or low tops, notorious lift slippers or deadlifting slippers, Avankas shoes, which are personally one of my favorites at the moment, which I use in training, or you can wear a squat shoe that can be heel elevated or a flat heel. Anything else can just be seen as unnecessary on the platform and not sensible. Also make sure to pack every footwear that you wear for each individual lift on the day, the squat, the bench and the deadlift. I also recommend bringing something a little bit comfortable as well, such as Crocs, to wear either in between lifts or after the meet, as you can want a little bit more comfort at the end. Competition tee is next. We can't wear anything with profanitory language on it or any swear words or anything else, because again, we have to be sensible here, guys. Or it can't be anything that assists the lift in any way. No tight as hell constricting, like elasticated shirts or nothing like that. We have to make it fair, remember. So a nice simple crew neck, plain and simple will do, or you can have any SBD or A7 meat tee as well. Socks, both deadlift and normal crew socks. We wear deadlifting socks to make sure no blood transfers to the bar, as sometimes this can happen in powerlifting events, as that bar is hella rough. So no blood on the bar, guys. Let's keep our deadlifting socks on. Crew socks also, just to make sure our socks don't touch our knee sleeve. We have wrist wraps, and again, with these, making sure we wear the wrist wraps properly. We don't get the loop around the thumb, or we don't leave it on, or get it in contact with the bar, as you can be told to re-rack your weight. And if you're going for 1 rep max, if you're going for your third lift and you're feeling already anxious and not confident, getting told to re-rack just because you got a silly loop around the thumb can really throw you off. So make sure you put your wrist wraps on properly. And last but not least, chalk. Powdered chalk only, guys. Liquid chalk can be seen as an unfair advantage, as some can even be very, very sticky. Also can damage the barbells. These barbells you're competing on can be worth up to 1,000, 1,200 pounds. They're expensive. Liquid chalk can damage them long term, so keep the liquid chalk in the gym, guys. Keep it at home. Use your powdered chalk for comps. Now let's talk about each individual lift and why you fail them too. It's very important to know, guys, when you fail the lift, when you see the red lights and you see the card underneath it, it's very important to know why you failed. Just saves you either asking the referees or getting too browned off because you've missed a lift and not knowing why. Many powerlifters do not actually know this card system, so make sure you pay attention. So the squat. One of the most technical lifts, and there's a lot you can fail in this one as well. It's different from a gym-based squat lift, and there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, such as the commands. 2 commands for squat, and that is squat and rack. The lifter will be required to have a minute up to the platform, 60 seconds to approach their bar, to unrack the weight in their own time, walk out and wait for that squat command by the referee. The referee will also visually say squat, so he will put his arm down, put his hand down and say squat. I always recommend waiting until they say squat. After that bit, do not rush it. Take that big deep breath, that big brace, and then descend into the squat. Upon the descent, we got to make sure the top of the knee meets or goes below the crease of the hip, like shown here. Failure upon doing so may result in red lights. I'm going to go through that shortly, so stick around. Reasons for failure in the squat. If you get red lighted in your squat attempt and you get a red card, this is because you failed to meet depth at any given side. If you've got a red light and a red card on one side, however, you've got white lights for the rest of them, that's okay. But that just means that referee has looked at your depth on one side and not liked it. So in your next attempt, just making sure you convince that judge even more. If you've gotten a red light and a blue card on your squat attempt, this has meant you've failed to lock out your knees before or after the squat command is given, or any downward movement of the bar during the ascent of the squat. This can sometimes happen on maybe your last attempt. If you failed your squat and got a yellow card, this has meant you've either failed to meet the commands or listened to the commands, you've dumped the bar upon completion of the lift for whatever reason. Imagine just letting go of the bar and letting the spotters take it. Absolutely wild. It's happened before in some meets, believe it or not. Or even any forwards or backwards movement of the feet during the ascent or descent of the squat. If you're moving your feet during the squat attempt, I want to ask you questions because that is pretty impressive and pretty damn dangerous. So let's not do that, shall we? Yes, it can seem like there's a lot of rules for the squat and that might put you off. I remember hearing the commands and all these rules and regulations for the first time. I just thought you'd go up and just bust out a normal squat. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye. However, if you implement these things in training, it's going to make things so much easier come competition day. So make sure you train to that standard, guys. Bench press. One of the most technical lifts, as there is 3 commands for this. This is the one where you see everyone failing the most for numerous reasons. Even if they've made the lift, you can sometimes get called for all sorts on bench press. So let's start off with the commands for bench press. You have 60 seconds to approach your bench, get under that bar, unrack your weight in your own time, and wait for that start signal by the referee. When the referee is given the start signal, start command, you then descend the bar until it's motionless on the chest. Listen out for that press command, which can seem like you're waiting 2 years and you're growing old before your very eyes. You press the bar up and you make sure you have locked out elbows. Also, during the entire rep, you need to make sure your feet are on the floor properly, your glutes are glued to the bench, and your shoulders and head all remain in contact with the bench at all times. Failure to do so can result in a failed lift. Now, there was a controversial rule added to bench press in last year's rule book, and that was the elbow depth rule. Before this time, you've seen a tremendous amount of freaky arches, and they've gotten away with just moving that bar a centimeter or 2 and it being allowed to lift. Personally, in my opinion, one of the best rules I've ever implemented. It's caught a lot of people out and it's changed the way people trained to that standard as well. I mean, let's be honest, moving that bar down a centimeter and back up is not a bench press. A bench press is a lot more to it than that, and it should be treated like more of a skill. Anyway, I digress. Reasons for failing in the bench press. Now, we have the same light card system as well, so we have a red, blue, and yellow card. If you failed your bench press and that red light gets accompanied with a red card, this has simply meant you failed to lower the bar to your chest until it's motionless, or you failed to meet elbow depth. Now, elbow depth, I want to just explain this just to make it abundantly clear for everyone who's had a little bit of confusion around this. Now, this is a direct instruction via the IPF Technical Handbook 2024, and that is failure to lower the underside of both elbow joints level or below the top surface of each respective shoulder joint. I'm going to put a few diagrams just here and here and here, just to make sure you are clear on the elbow depth rule, as it can get oftentimes either mistaken or it's very hard to judge unless you're in a competition with a jury, which can act like almost like a VAR in football almost, I guess so. All these red cards and VAR systems, it is like football, isn't it? It is hard to judge. However, if you train to a standard, or even when you're training, putting the camera above your head or level with your shoulders and elbows, you can see and judge what elbow depth you currently have and if it'll get caught out in competition. If you are a wide grip bench presser and you struggle with elbow depth, it may be worth either lowering your arch or bringing your grip in slightly more just to abide by that rule. If you've gotten a red light and a blue card, so you've failed your bench press and gotten a blue card, this is because you're failing to lock out your elbows before receiving the start command, or you failed to lock out your elbows on the press command, which can be devastating because I know many people who have gotten tremendous PBs but have not locked out their elbows before getting that start command, and the referees will not say rack, they will just say start. They will not wait for anyone. If you're waiting for the referee to say the command, straight away think something's wrong, elbows locked out, glutes on bench, everything good, and then they will say the commands. You can also get a blue card for any downward motion during the ascent of bench press. Even if it's like a millimeter sinking on one side, the referees are trained to be very, very precise and sneaky when it comes to watching that bar path. Now, if you failed your bench press and gotten a yellow card, this can be because you failed to obey the commands or remain in the same place in contact throughout the entirety of the lift. This means your feet either moved, your bums come off the bench or shifted a little bit, or your head's come up and you fail to maintain that same position, or you've used anything else to assist in your lift for however or whatever reason. So before I move on to deadlift, I mentioned before about that special discount code for like 10% off online coaching, and that is WARD10. Make sure you grab that. That's only available to you, the viewer, and even better if you subscribe as well. Moving on, the deadlift platform, where egos are shattered and champions are made. They're my favorite time of the competition. It's the last little bit, the crowd's all warmed up, everyone's going good hype, and it's also as well where the most people fail because they're tired. This is one of the easiest lifts for the commands because there's only one command, and that is down. You will not receive a command to begin, so in that case you have 60 seconds to approach your bar, to get in your exact position and to execute that lift with locked out joints. That includes your knees, your hips, and your shoulders. Upon completion of the lift, you receive the downward command. Lower the bar slowly or with a degree of control. Failure to do so, you will get failed lift and red lighted. Imagine making your all-time PB and acting like a complete noob and dropping the bar. It doesn't look good and you will fail. Or before that, you'll probably hear the crowd go, ooh, and you look a little bit silly. Please don't do that. Many problem areas on deadlift include the lockout of the bar. This can, again, really put you off in future attempts as well, as lockouts can be quite hard, especially if you're like 6'5". You have a long way to travel, man. Like, you need to call an Uber between the floor and your deadlift lockout position. I have a client, Matty, and he struggles to lock out the bar on deadlifts because he's so freaking tall. So if you're a long limb lifter, again, preferably changing your stance, even trying a sumo deadlift attempt, this can help minimize the travel up to the lockout position as well. In the deadlift, you cannot hitch the bar. If you hitch the bar, which means using your thighs to assist in the lockout of the barbell, oftentimes common in strongman because it is allowed in the sport. However, those who cross over from strongman to powerlifting oftentimes hitch. If you hitch, you're supporting the bar with your legs and you're ramping that bar up to lock out. This will result in a no lift. If you failed your deadlift attempt and that's accompanied with a red card, this has meant that you failed to stand up erect with your shoulders back. And yes, I just said the word erect on YouTube. Grow up. If you failed a deadlift and gotten a blue card, this has meant, unfortunately, you've had a little bit of downward movements during the ascent of your deadlift, or you've used your thighs as assistance to lock up the bar, which is called hitching. This, unfortunately, is not allowed, ladies and gents. I understand sometimes it can take patience and it can take a lot of energy and force to lock out that bar, but you've just got to be patient and you've just got to trust that you'll lock it out. Trust your own strength. You've done the work in your training and you've worked on all your weak parts, your weak points. You've just got to trust that final few seconds between that grind, between the knees and the lockout position of the last lift. If you failed your deadlift attempt and gotten a yellow card, this has oftentimes meant you've been a little bit of a silly goose and not lower the bar with a degree of control after the lift. This includes dropping the bar. I remember sending my coach a video for my deadlift and I shoved the bar down after lifting it. It was my PB. I was excited, I was ramped up, and I was just like, I can lift anything right now. So I dropped the bar and she said back to me, never fucking do that again. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I also made a cool, funny video from it, so that's just banter. Another reason why you're getting a yellow card on your failed attempt is because you've moved your feet laterally at any time during the lift, either the ascent or descent. They can be really sneaky, and again, because you're so amped up, you can oftentimes forget what you're doing with your feet. When you've lifted the bar, when you've done your attempt, stay still in your feet and lower the bar slow. You've done the hard work. You can do a little bit more with a degree of control. There's one more thing that has not fell into each category, and that is behavior on the platform. When you're at a competition, when you're on the deadlifting platform, don't swear. I understand it can sometimes be very exciting. Your testosterone will be bloody sky high and you're just very amped up on caffeine and jelly babies. But do not swear. Again, there's even kids there, guys, so just behave in an appropriate manner and just be a well-rounded, calm, controlled, and collected athlete. Weighing in is also on that list as well. When you're weighing in, making sure you have your Powerlifting membership ready for the judges to write down your weight, and also making sure you're actually making weight too. For example, if you're competing in a 93 kilogram category, simply making sure you're below or equal to 93 kilos on the dot. Fail to do so and they will either tell you to go to the back of the line, or you'll be lifting as a guest lifter for that day and your records may not stand either. I understand all these rules and regulations can seem frightening, but like I said before, if you practice these in training, you will not be caught out on the day. And remember, referees are not out to get you. They don't hate you. Stop thinking this. I always see this on social media posts saying, oh, not the me I wanted. Referees just hate me that day. They're there volunteering. They're not getting paid to fail you on your lift. They're just volunteering. So don't flatter yourself. There we have it, my powerlifting friends. You're now strong and you now know the rules. Be sure to click the IPF approved handbook link below to get more versed up in this. And don't forget, if you like this video, you're gonna love the squat mistakes I made. That can also give away a lot in the competition as well. So make sure to check that out. Click the bell below, and I'll see you in the next video.